Do you have particular favorites from the show?
Yeah, and it's kind of cheating because it's not even a song that I sing, but Stronger Than You. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. It's beautiful, beautifully animated, beautiful storytelling, and it's freaking Estelle, man. Like you can't touch that.
Do you get to interact with Rebecca Sugar when you record and put input into the character, or is it pretty much laid out for you?
It's pretty much every session. She directs along with either Ben Levin or Ken Osborne or a few other people that come in and out. But there's only been 2 or 3 sessions where she wasn't there because she had other engagements. Even though she's very, very busy with all departments of the show, she definitely makes time to come to the records every week, which I've always appreciated. She always has a lot of insight because all these arcs that you're seeing in the show that are happening and what's going to happen, she's already had planned from the beginning. It's this master plan inside her head that she's had since the short pilot was released 3 years ago. So it's nice to have her guidance there. And as far as the character goes, I feel like I have I know how he functions now mentally and where his motivations come from. So I definitely do have a degree of freedom and control over where the reads go. But she's there to direct and guide as well. Because the character is based off her brother who works on the show. He's a background artist. He's really fun to be around, and I totally see where she got the inspiration for Steven from him, because he's very enthusiastic, happy guy. But yeah, she's always present for most records.
Cool.
Aside from Steven, what roles have you done that particularly stand out to you or have a special place in your heart?
As far as voiceover goes, I did a radio show for 5 years called Adventures in Odyssey, and I played a character named Matthew Parker. That show was my very first voiceover gig. It kind of led me to all this, and the crew from Focus on the Family on that show has definitely made a huge impact on my life, and I'm very grateful and I have a huge appreciation for what they do. And even though I don't do Matthew anymore, it definitely a huge chapter of my life was dedicated and had Matthew as a part of it, so that would definitely be one.
So just going on top of the topic of radio, do you feel that nowadays with the internet being what it is right now, do you by any chance provide your voice for any other radio-like shows, like on podcasts or internet or Pandora or anything like that?
Fiction, you mean?
Yes.
I haven't done a whole lot of it besides Odyssey. I did one C.S. Lewis adaptation for the BBC years ago. That's about as far as I got in radio, but I love the medium. It's not that common anymore. I did a radio talk show for a while and had a few of the Steven cast members and some musically inclined friends on the show. I did about 15 episodes of that, but as far as like radio dramas go, I don't think they're as common as they should be because it's a really beautiful art form that's kind of faded off over the decades, and I feel like it's totally ripe for a comeback because it's so, the way it's presented is so unique, and there's so many different parts of production you don't think about, which I learned from working on Adventures in Odyssey as far as sound effects go and how music plays into it and how you have to indicate what you're doing with your voice in order to express it because there's no visual to go with it. It's definitely a teaching experience and something I'd love to do more of.
And on top of that, have you ever, after working on the radio, have you ever listened to other big name radio shows? Like, for example, the Green Hornet was one big show back in the older days that was really popular. Have you ever listened to any other radio shows such as that?
I dug into a lot of past Odyssey episodes because the show's been on for over 25 years now. But I probably should look into more because it's such a fascinating thing that has kind of been lost to the ages at times. But I'm guilty of not listening to a whole lot besides what is in the Adventures in Odyssey universe.
So, last April, you guys had a crossover episode with Uncle Grandpa.
Yeah.
Are there any other crossovers that you would like to see Steven Universe do?
Oh, man. I mean, any of the other Cartoon Network shows, Regular Show, Adventure Time, I'm friends with a lot of the cast members from those shows. Jeremy and Olivia from Adventure Time, William and Kevin Michael Richardson on Uncle Grandpa, of course. He was in the booth for that. But everybody at Cartoon Network, everybody that works there is super cool, and we have a great little network of people that come in and out of that studio. So I'd totally open to doing another crossover episode if anybody from who can make that happen is watching or listening. I'm totally on board for that because the recording that episode was super fun because we had, I think it was me, Michaela Dietz, and I think it was either Eugene who plays Jamie or somebody else from Steven was in the booth with us, and we had Eric Bauza, Kevin Michael Richardson, and Pete Browngart from Uncle Grandpa in the booth. It was a completely full room. We had a blast recording, and one of my favorite sessions we've ever had, actually.
I guess I'll just keep going then.
Okay, cool.
Alright, so, let's see. Now, this is technically an anime convention, and I know that you've done some anime voiceover roles as well. Can you tell us a little? Yeah, can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, I was in the English dub of The Wind Rises, the Hayao Miyazaki's film, Studio Ghibli. I played young Jiro at the beginning of the film, and that is honestly one of the roles I'm most proud of because it's Hayao Miyazaki and potentially his last film. And I'd always, well, he said that many times, that's why I say potentially. But I really had always wanted to be part of a Studio Ghibli project, specifically a Miyazaki project. And when that audition came in and it said in big letters, Hayao Miyazaki's last film, I'm like, I gotta have this. And I poured my heart and soul into that audition and ended up getting rewarded for it. But just working on that, and the other aspect of it was the adult me on the English dub was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who is a huge idol of mine as far as career trajectory goes. So it was the best of both worlds in that regard, and it's such a beautiful film. Just to be a part of something that moving and that artistically sound was a really incredible experience. And I'd love to do more anime, but as far as dipping my toe in, I'd say that was a pretty good start.
And are there any other types of roles that you would like to do? Any media you'd like to appear in that you haven't had the chance to yet?
You know, I don't get the chance to play the bad guy very often. It would definitely be a complete 180 from Steven, because he's such a happy, friendly individual. It's totally the protagonist, and playing the jerk would be kind of a fun thing. I've done it before, but not nearly often enough to let out all that steam, you know.
All right, so I gotta ask, what would an evil Steven be like?
Oh man, he would cackle all the time. I'd probably have to make up a new laugh. As the anti-Steven, because the current Steven, his laugh is so like jolly, and that just wouldn't fit at all. It would have to be just pitifully evil, and I'd figure that out at some point. But it wouldn't be easy to go back on these years of friendly, happy cookie cat Steven.
Okay, so since you started traveling to different conventions, comic shows, just your first impression when you came to this show. Your impression so far, being on a boat.
I mean, I'm on a boat. Everybody look at me because I'm sailing on a boat. But seriously, though, it's really... I've never seen anything like this. I mean, look at this thing. This is so cool. I don't know if the cameras were rolling before when I said it, but I feel like I'm in Vault 101 or something. It's a really cool idea to have a Comic-Con on a boat, especially a boat like this with so much history and how big it is. It's definitely... cool, and I'm excited to go about the day and see what else this big thing has in store.
Right, and is there anything that you're looking forward to from the fans and the people that are here to see you?
The cosplays, for sure, like you mentioned. I already saw a bunch out in line. There was a Jasper and a Lapis, which I like it when the people cosplay the not as popular characters like Jamie, because it just goes to show how much depth there is to the fandom and how many people are out there cosplaying. So I love seeing stuff like that.
All right, well, thank you very much for being here. I hope you have a great time at the convention, and we'll see you around.
Thank you.